In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Anakin Skywalker for the Black Series 6-inch line, based upon his appearance from Revenge of the Sith. So this is the archive version you're looking at. He was originally released as figure number 12 in the orange and black packaging, and I used to own that action figure. It was okay, but I ended up selling that to replace it with the archive figure here. And I have to say, this is not one of Hasbro's best efforts. Looking at this figure again, it really hasn't aged too well, I don't think. We're definitely in need of a new updated Revenge of the Sith Anakin, which I'm hoping we end up getting here soon. I hope now that he makes an appearance in the Ahsoka series, and he seems to look like how he does in Revenge of the Sith, that Hasbro ends up making a brand new Black Series Anakin here soon. And TVC as well, we're definitely in need of a new updated Anakin in TVC. So I suspect that if Hasbro does make an entirely new figure of him, that it'll be based upon his appearance in Ahsoka first, and then I really hope they go back and do one for Revenge of the Sith. That seems to be how Hasbro is doing it, is they do new media first, and then they go back and backtrack with all the other media, especially the more iconic movies or series that characters appear in. So, like I said, I don't think this action figures age too well. You can probably see right now that this is probably not the best looking Anakin in the world. I do have the Revenge of the Sith figure arts Anakin that I'll go ahead and bring out here right now, and while he's not 100% as well, he does have his own charm to him. As you can see, I think there's a huge difference in the quality and the appearance between the two figures here. We'll compare them both much more closely here in a little bit. So what's the problem with this action figure? Well, for one, he's lacking in the accessory department. He actually did not come with a robe at all, and I do have this extra custom robe for him, and while it's all black, it's good enough to get the point across. So this is what I typically use for the Black Series Anakin here, and of course for figure arts here, that's a custom robe as well. So you can't switch out between the two. They're both Anakin robes, just different colors. But I figure for the slightly better looking Anakin here, he deserves a robe that's a little more accurate. Also, Hasbro kind of lacked on the paint department here. You can probably see right now that for his robotic glove there, or for his robotic arm with the glove over it, Hasbro just did a straight brown paint all the way through that. That's pretty ridiculous. That's the only time I've seen them actually do that for a Black Series, or for an Anakin action figure in general. I can't think of any 3 3/4 inch action figures that have done that. And the sculpt overall, it's okay. It's definitely got a lot of work to do. We'll go into some of the details about that here in a minute. So what else can I say about this? So this is the only Revenge of the Sith Anakin that we have as of this video, which is really unfortunate. We do have a Attack of the Clones one, which is basically a repaint of this one almost. It's utilizing the same exact body and then just a different head. That figure is a little bit better because it has an entirely newly sculpted head and it has a photoreal face. So that's just a hair bit better, but I think we definitely need an updated Attack of the Clones Anakin as well. Then pretty soon here we'll be getting the Phantom Menace one, which I do have on pre-order. So we're just going to take a closer look at him here. So this is another example of a painted face that is updated with the face printing tech. And I think this is another case where it really didn't turn out that well. But it's okay. I think it's a much better improvement compared to the painted face, but still not perfect. I think the hair could be a lot better. And another problem I usually have with this action figure is, especially this alternative head here, that I'll show off more in a minute, you can see that joint on his neck there. It's very ugly. And even if you have him looking forward where his chin might hide that a little bit more, you can still see it. The only way you can really truly hide that is if you have him looking down. He does have distinguishable blue eyes though, which are pretty good. He does have a scar there. The hair, like I said, the hair is not the best. I think it could be sculpted a little bit better. I think he has a little bit too much of a comb over wave on this side. Just a little much. Then the streaks on it are painted very odd. And the color, I think, could be a lot better as well. For the rest of the outfit, it's okay. I think the sculpt of it could be a little bit better. Like I said, that glove there, they just painted straight brown, which is unfortunate. At least they painted a little bit of detail on the details that are on his glove. And still, it does look kind of odd with Anakin having this brown glove instead of a black one. It almost looks like he never lost an arm at all, and he's just wearing a glove. As for this arm, again, it's got a lot of work to do. It's not the worst though. I think the drape he could have at the end of his sleeves could be a lot better. There, it almost looks like it's not even there at all. As for his belt, it's fine. It has all the pouches and necessary components that you could ask for. For his skirt here, it is soft goods, which is nice, and it's brown. And then of course he has his leather layer here, which it does feel pretty good actually. And this part is soft, and of course this part is molded into the plastic. As for his legs, they are, I think they're alright. The boots are just fine. Some of the parts do feel a little gummy sometimes though, and they do have a little bit of flex to them, which can be dangerous. These parts might break apart easily. So in terms of the articulation, it's super articulated of what you would expect. He does have that ball joint at the head, obviously, you can't really miss that. He does have a hinge at the shoulders. Elbows are at a ball joint there, but they don't even go 90 degrees for either arm, which is unfortunate. He does have the hinged wrist. This one goes in and out, and then this one goes in and out as well, so they both have the same motion. He does have a joint at the waist, hinge hips, swivel thigh, and the double hinge at the knees, so you can tell by the pins and the rocker ankles. For accessories, technically his head here is an accessory because he does have an alternative head here. Then you have his lightsaber, which I have to admit I'm kind of disappointed by this because it's extremely gummy. And it bends no problem, and that hilt barely stays in place. And the details on it are not the best either. It's painted in gray, which we know Anakin's saber is more of a silver color. But other than that, the details are painted just fine. You can attach it to his belt here. Which does seem to stay in place alright. Doesn't look too bad. Then we have this alternative head here, which is supposed to be a dark side Anakin. And oftentimes you'll hear this referred to as the spaghetti hair Anakin, because his hair is very stringy and very scraggly. Which I think, I'll give this a little bit more credit than it normally gets. I think it has its own charm to it. And you could say he's been on Mustafar for a while, and heat from the lavas taking the moisture out of his hair, I guess, and of course he's going to be extremely sweaty. So I think it's not too bad, and I do think this photoreal face instead of a painted face does look a little bit better. I do recall the painted face looking not the best, I'll say that. He does have the scar there as well. The Sith eyes aren't as prevalent on this as the painted face though. And this figure arts Anakin I have here does have the Sith eyes head up on instead. So you can see that's much more distinguishable. Looks pretty good. So I'll go ahead and pop the head off. May end up cutting the video out for a second because it might take a minute. And they actually popped off no problem. There is one problem with this head though, and whether you have the very first version or this one, Hasbro did not bother to fix it. But he has a case of giraffe neck there, and that joint shows up even more. I suppose there is a way, possibly if you're really crafty, you might be able to drill a deeper hole inside his head to where that will fit a little bit better. And I understand why Hasbro did do it, because they want to accommodate the hair there on the back of his neck. But it looks okay. The giraffe neck is definitely a little bit more prevalent on this one compared to this head here. One more thing I'll show here where we draw our conclusions is I do want to show what he looks like with this robe on. And black, I mean, it does look pretty good on Anakin, but I will say it does look a little off because we never see Anakin with a black robe. Do you think Revenge of the Sith, that might have been a concept to make? And I think this does help the figure out quite a bit, as you can see there, especially with that head. In fact, I've never really done it together like this, where he has the dark side head with the black robe here, but it looks really good. I want to see what he looks like with the hood on. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It definitely looks like Darth Vader in his prime. He's getting ready to go to Mustafar and wipe out the Separatists. But let me know what you think based upon looking at these two side by side. Which one do you think's better? I will give the Figure Arts one its own review at some point, so I won't put a whole lot of emphasis on that one today. So stay tuned for that in the future. We'll put them off to the side for now. But yeah, that looks really good actually. It looks much better compared to the other head actually. This dark side head fits the black robe much better. Let's see here. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about this Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader Black Series figure. So would I recommend for your collection? You know, for the longest time I would have, because this was and even before the Clone Wars Anakin and the Attack of the Clones one, this was the only Black Series Anakin we had for several years. So with that being the case, I would have recommended him, but given the recent situation with Ahsoka, and I suspect we'll be getting a new one soon, I would say hold off just a little bit longer and we might get a new and improved Anakin. Of course, this may never happen. Hasbro may decide not to do it at all. I highly doubt that will be the case though. In that case, I would say, yeah, I guess you're going to have to get this one if you want Black Series Anakin. You could always get the Figure Arts one, but those are typically pretty expensive. And even with this Black Series Anakin here, he is pretty expensive as well, and that's why you got an archive figure. The original went way up in the hundreds before the archive version, and I did get this archive one at a local grocery store. I only paid like $20 for it. The original I actually got a couple years after it was released, and I paid less than $100 for it, I'll say that. I forget exactly what it was. I think I may have paid like $50 for them. So not the worst, but nowadays it seems like between the archive figure and the original, they still go way up in the hundreds, and I think it would be... I know some people have suggested that we should get another archive figure of him at some point, but at this point we should just get an all new one. So I would say hold out for that a little bit longer. I have seen some variants online of photos. I don't think it was the official action figure, but his skirt here, even though it's brown, on some samples I've seen, it has white instead. I'm not sure if that was just a mistake on the art, or if Hasbro did do a running change of that last minute and those samples went out there. Not 100% on the backstory of that. That isn't interesting to know. If you get it on sites like Amazon or even eBay, every now and then you might see some stock photos of this figure, and then he has the white skirt instead of the brown one that he should have. And you may have seen some of those floating around on the internet every now and then. But still, it's an okay action figure. He definitely has a lot of room for improvement and a lot more to be desired. But if we had to settle for this Anakin, I think he's okay and he's adequate enough. He definitely looks like Anakin Skywalker mostly, and he gets the point across for a Black Series collection. So if by chance we never get an updated one, then yes, I would say go ahead and get this one if you find them for a good price. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.